Hi, Dr. B here. Welcome to Dr. B Uncensored, where we interview candid thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and founders to tell their story to inspire others to do the same. Hopefully, you enjoy this
Hi,
episode.
everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. B Show. I'm here with the great Adam Lee Spencer. Adam, how are you?
I'm wonderful, man. Grace, peace, and mercy to you.
Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on my show. Let's dive right into it. Tell everyone about yourself.
Uh, Adam Lee Spencer, born and raised in Gloucester County, Virginia. Um, Child and son of First Baptist Church, Ordinary, Virginia. Hampton Pirate, go Pirates. That is the standard of excellence. 20-year military vet. And now I work in the sports and entertainment management world. And I own my own company, Spencer Group International.
I love it, and we'll take a deeper dive into that now. How has the military helped you, whether it's discipline, whether it's, business structure? Tell me, how did the military in general help you in what you're doing today?
Well, the discipline, obviously, the order goes without saying, but it's also something I can harken back on. We all hit a brick wall. We all have times of struggle, but a lot of times, uh, especially when I first started out in the journey after the service, I would be, trying to put things in place, execute on some tasks and stuff, and would just come to hit this block, and then all of a sudden, something from sitting in one of them cubicles in the office, in the headquarters building would pop in my head and be like, "Oh yeah, dummy, just do that." And so yeah, it's always been something to lean back on.
I love it. I love it, man. Tell us your journey. So you started your organization here. I'm looking up the information you sent me, so thank you for that. Spencer Group International. You have an array of services. Tell me, how'd you get to this point? I know you have your military experience, but it's not like you just woke up, or it could have been, right? But tell me, how'd you get to Spencer Group International? Like, everyone has a journey. Like, in my case, I worked in higher ed for so long. I wanted to get into teaching full time. I wound up getting
Hmm.
the degree, but after the degree, I was like, you know what? I don't want to get into teaching yet full time. I want to get into, I want to keep going with entrepreneurship, build a generational wealth, eventually, create that bucket of money in real estate. And then what I'm doing now is I'm building my coaching practice a little bit. So that's my path, right? So that's my path in 30 seconds. So tell us your path in a minute or two, or in a few minutes.
No problem. No problem. So in 2010, I was uh, kind of unsure of where I was going to go next in the military. I had been stationed in Germany for a while, and different measures and regulations were coming in. I had been in Germany, like I said, for a while, and they were starting to send people back stateside. Um, so I remember I went home on leave, and my dad asked me, uh, "So you thought about where you want to go next, or what they're going to do with you? Are you going to stay over there?" I said, "I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to stay." I got a call HRC while I'm home. So it just so happened I flew into Baltimore, I believe it was. No, I flew into DC, flew into Reagan, and he picked me up. And we're sitting, and he said, "You want to get something to eat?" And we're sitting in the restaurant talking about it. And he said, "Call your mama. Tell her we staying up here tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow." Okay. So the next day we went up to HRC, found the building, found the guy's office, and the guy says, "Okay, so I got 10 slots open at Fort Stewart." What I'm not sure if they still call it Fort Stewart with all the, yeah, everything that's going on in our current political climate. Who knows what the name of the base is now? Uh, and it's most likely where you want to go. And that was the last place I wanted to go. I was in Germany, and it was a bunch of guys that had been there, and they were telling me about, "Hey, You could be signed out, turned in your TA-50, cleared, CIF cleared, everything signed out, the unit clearing paper is gone, and they will stop you and bring you back to deploy. Now, I'd already had 2 deployments under my belt. When he said, I was like, oh my God. So that was like August 10th, maybe August 15th that I saw him. And I was home for 10 or 15 days. I'd be damned. September 1st, I got back. There's what they used to call in those days a purse gram. You going to Fort Stewart. Ugh. Okay. So I spent the next 2 months trying to figure out how in the world do I get out of this. And a buddy of mine had already changed his MOS to frequency manager. It was still in Signal Corps, and they were looking for people. So and in my military career, I had fit the profile. So I go do that. Finally, get all the paperwork done. Go back to Fort Gordon for 6 months. Do all the training. Get out here to JBLM, and part of that process was to reenlist indefinitely. I got a bonus. All good. Okay, do all of that. By that next late February, early springish, they send me off to a military school for the next rank. Okay, whatever. They're calling me while I'm at the school. Hey, are you prepared to deploy? We might need you to go early. Oh, okay, whatever. So for the next 2 weeks after the first call, no, you're not going. Yeah, you're going. No, you're not. Yes, you are. Okay, whatever. It's right around my birthday. I get back from the school. You're not going. Okay, cool. All right. Get through the month of April, middle of May. Hey, can you go on the advance party? You're single. Bruh. Okay. So I'm on the advance party. I get there in, I believe it was June of 2011. So this is General Petraeus' time wrapping up. Uh, I'm there to experience September 13th, 2011, which is 2 days after the 10-year anniversary. Everybody in Afghanistan was on edge during that period. And, there was an attack on the embassy there on that. And so I'm getting ready to go on R&R in February of 2012. And I remember we had a meeting or whatever. No, we had visitors from some of the headquarters in Europe because it was a NATO site. And I had taken them through everything that we were doing, and I'm just exhausted. And I'm staring out of the window in Afghanistan. I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep doing this. I end up going on R&R, talk to a buddy of mine. He says, man, you ought to think about buying a house. What are you waiting on? Go through all of that, get back, end up buying a house, buy a house online, sight unseen, don't see anything till I get back on R&R in June. So go through that process. I finally get in the house in August, get moved in, I'm settled down. So this is about late September, October time frame, and I'm sitting in the house. I believe there's a game on. And I'm like, what I want to do when I grow up. That's an old Army saying. And it hit me, man. I got to think about this because I just can't keep doing this. I can't keep picking up my life, dropping it. And at the time, it was the deployments, but it was more my entire life. I just can't keep picking up my life every 2 years, every 3 years, or every year, and putting it down here today for a year later to be here tomorrow. And so I just started looking into things to make a plan. Uh, what do I do when I retire? Because I was going to have to do 20. So uh, I looked at myself. I looked at the experience I had in Afghanistan. I was on the headquarters, NATO headquarters. So I met a lot of different people from across the world. And it was a great, for as crazy as it sounds, it was a great social experience. So I had to take that social experience and cross it with what I love in life, and that's sports. So here we are.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, right? And then how'd you? All right, so then now you obviously you found your calling. You don't want to keep doing what you're doing, right? So tell me like the first steps. Did you find a mentor to kind of help you with that whole sports stuff?
So
Tell me about that piece. The
so
end.
what I did,
Yeah.
yeah. So what I did was I started taking courses with sports management worldwide out of Portland. Um, they've got a whole school and family of sports agents and people who have worked on the business side of sports. So started taking classes with them online while I was in Germany, um, because got back home here in 2012 from Afghanistan about a year and a half. No, yeah, year and a half, close to 2 years later, I was on my way to Germany. This is, and I got there a couple of months after Putin had first went into the Ukraine. So I got back to Germany, finally got my stuff in December on a Friday. That Monday morning, I was in a sprinter van on the way to Poland to help training there with that. So I had the computer with me. I had already got all the books and stuff I needed for the class. So I was there doing the class, uh, and just going through the process. And I took a couple of more classes where I was actually able to sit in on weekly webinars. They were at 8, 9 o'clock at night, that time in Germany. But, I got to sit in on webinars, to talk to different people, got to engage with the owner, Dr. Lynn Lashbrook. He's been an agent in the NFL for a long time. So,
I love that. Good, good, good. That makes sense. Yeah, because I even in my stuff, right? Like for my group
mhm,
coaching program, I have a mentor, right? For my
mhm,
real estate stuff that I do multifamily, I have a mentor. So I'm sure. So I'm happy that you was able to find someone in that agent, right, that was able to kind of help you with that back end, right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
tell me, tell us some of the stuff that you do for your business now, like what you do for athletes now.
So we work with the marketing, the branding, some of the strategic moves for the athletes or the talent guys on the talent side. Um, Obviously, we take opportunities to pitch them to different teams uh, when need be in certain situations. We look for opportunities like tryouts and things of that nature, and for certain guys, or help them through the tryout process. Um, we we can help you with the PR stuff, preparing for interviews, talking, helping that client through the interview process, because you know if you follow sport, if you are any kind of follower of sports, especially in the U.S., you know about the draft process, and what that can look like. So we do what we can to help the guys through that process. And on the consulting side, we work with governing bodies, club teams, companies that want to get into the ad and marketing side of sports, things of that nature. Uh, we can help you develop tournaments. We can help with facilities, making sure you've got the right facility, making sure everything's in place. We can work with you as far as getting the right media and content deals. So it's I won't say it's full service, but we do a lot.
That's good. It sounds like full service. And then one of the questions I remember from our first time that we met, like I guess green room, pre-interview, whatever, was a lot of these athletes, like 5 years after retirement, I know they go broke, right? They don't plan. They don't properly plan. But I know you do a great job with that, right? So tell me,
Mhm.
what are some of the examples that you've seen or you've done with your clients where you're helping folks, like even post retirement, or making the right decisions now so that it impacts, so that whatever happens 10, 20, 30 years from now, they're not broke.
It was a quote I heard a few months back. And the quote basically said, live in your 20s, but make sure you're planning for your 40s and
Exactly.
50s.
Yeah, it's true. I know that first time. Yeah, man. I blew a lot of money. I probably should have had more than a couple of properties on my phone.
Right. We do that, but there's this in the modern world that we live in, we do understand mental health. You got to go out and live.
That is true.
You know, a lot of these guys, gals, somewhere between 17 and 24, 25 years old with millions in your pocket. Something stupid's going. I tell the athletes, and I tell whether it's their parents or the people around them, something stupid's going to happen. Maybe it's big, maybe it's small, but you know, something stupid's going to happen. There's going to be a mistake.
Yeah, you see all these athletes married, like doing stuff with all these OF, only fan models or IG models, and
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
scares me, man. It scares me.
something's going to happen. So
Yeah,
I um and I think the thing we also have to understand, we talk about this a lot of times, and we don't, and we have a lot of broad conversations about it. We don't individualize the situation.
that's true. Yeah, we blanket it like, hey, no disrespect to IG OF models. I just feel that every athlete, man or woman, should have a plan, right? That's all. You know what I mean? That's all. That is all.
Yeah,
Disclaimer: I had to clean up my statement in case someone comes back at me. Well, Dr.
yeah,
V said this back on July
yeah.
2025.
Jesus. Yeah, well, and that's another aspect of the world we live in now.
Right, right.
Yeah, and so yeah, I try and individualize it to where I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you I know everything. I'm not gonna front like I know everything. So, and part of the process is ensuring you understand. Okay, I'm gonna help you, support you, and advocate you making a good decision for you. And what does that mean? I'm. It's my job to find the information for you so you can make a good decision. Because in the end, this is your life still. I'm a support asset in your life.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, you'll let them know these are the decisions you're a grown man or woman and you make the decision at that point, right?
And,
Yeah.
when whether we like it or not, whether it's socially acceptable or not, when you start talking about millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars crossing the table, everybody there grown now. It's too late. We all grown now. When you start talking about that type of money crossing hands and crossing the table, going into bank accounts and all of that type of stuff, hey, we all grown now.
Yeah, no, of course. Agreed. Agreed. Question
And
one of my last questions, man. I know we're almost out of time. What Well, before next to last, I promise. 2 questions left. One of
no,
them is,
no,
one
you're
of them
good.
is, tell me your contact info. But one of my important questions is for those that are, athletes, right? No matter what the case may, I know the sweet spot is, 17, 24, 25, but you do have those in the minor leagues or like you said, like if it's basketball, the G League, right? What
Yeah.
advice would you give to those folks?
Well, it's the getting. What I would try and do is get in and engage on where are you right now? Okay, and where do you want to get to? And let's look at a realistic path to this goal. What's a realistic path to this goal? If you're 27, 28 in the G League or in Europe, the league, you know, those opportunities are dwindling for you. That's just not, that's a part of the relationship too. I feel like is honesty in the conversations. You know, if it's the NFL, if we're talking to NFL and you're playing FCS or lower, highly likely you're not going to be a day one. You're not going to be a day one pick.
Right. Right, right. If you're not part of
You're
the
not
taxi squad or CFL, right? Yeah, most likely, yeah, you're not gonna, right?
you are not going to be a day one pick.
Right, exactly.
Um, you know, and where we are with Power Four right now, most likely Power Four and FBS, most likely you're not going to be a day two pick.
Right, right. So now we're about
So
day three or walk or
yeah, so
what is it? Undrafted free agent.
yeah, so we're looking at day three or UDFA
UDFA, exactly. Undrafted free agent. Yep.
or Canada
Okay.
or UFL.
Right. Owned by the Rock, right? Owned
Yeah,
by the Rock.
or
Yeah.
UFL in a realistic path to the league. And God forbid if you know you really want to jumpstart your career and you go end up having to play in the EFL in Europe or things of that nature. So we have to have realistic conversations about, okay, here's where you are, this is where you want to get to. These are the steps we got to take to get there. And within that, here's the likelihood of that happening. If, let's say, you're now 27, once you get past 24, 25 ish, and you're in the G League, you're in the UFL, highly likely that NFL or NBA dream,
Right. Yeah.
it's it
Slim to
the
none. Right.
yeah the path is
Yeah.
is very narrow,
Yeah.
and so we got to make sure you know we've got a plan for you after you say, okay, you know what,
Right.
I'm tired of going to the gym every day.
Right.
I'm tired of these runs every day. You know, what
Right.
what what do you want to do? What do you have in place educationally already? What do you have experience doing on the job side, the corporate sector? What skills do you have? Do we
Right. That
need to
makes
finish?
sense.
Yeah, do we
That make
need to finish an education?
finish. Yep.
Okay. Or, do we need to start an education
Right.
or restart an education? Been there and done that. And one of the other things that we have to, parents should be talking to their kids about is, okay, especially people of color, they just have the honest conversation to throw it out there. If these PWIs are calling you and, you know, you hear about them running away from a DEI program, or Trump said this about the school, they've got a black student association. The let's have an honest conversation. The Black Student Association is there for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Minority Student
Yeah.
Association
Yeah.
is there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so one of the things you have to talk to the teenagers about when these offers start coming in. Okay, when you make your decision, okay, however long you're there, go there and make the most of the time while you're there. Who are you getting connected to? Who are you building relationships with? And how does that translate to net? Translate to when you're 26, 27, and hey, do I want to keep doing this? Or I've got to prepare now for age 30, 31 when, okay, you know what? I've decided, okay, I'm going to hang it up at age 31, 32 if I'm not in the league. Who am I connected to? Who am I going to call on? Because what we really don't take a value in is somebody like Magic. Magic, if you're an NBA athlete, especially at a high profile, some sort of a profile level, and you're in LA and you don't talk to him, he will get pissed with you
That's right. Yeah.
because you didn't come talk to him and pick his brain.
Yeah. Right.
You look at uh, the bubble.
Yeah.
That was done because Chris Paul had a relationship with folks at Disney, the
Right.
CEO at the time. That was how that got done.
Right.
That was the groundwork for the bubble, was his
Right.
relationship.
Yeah.
So, I would challenge the parents, those officers from those major schools. Hey, it's a beautiful thing. It's an opportunity. Make sure you're talking to your kids about making the most of it. You know, and at times, socially, those are some uncomfortable conversations because you separate yourself from from community at times, and that always doesn't go well for everybody. That could be a hard thing for the others in the community. That can also be a hard thing for said athlete in that community.
I know, definitely a hard conversation. Our time is almost up, man. But I agree with you 100%. I definitely think that you should give yourself a timeline. Whatever the age or circumstances are, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever timeline it is, definitely have a plan. And I definitely think they should talk to you, right? Because I know a lot of folks in that range, right? That 22, 23, 24 range that it didn't work out. Obviously, they're not drafted by the MLB yet or NBA or NFL. But now, what's that next step? And I definitely would. I would love to introduce them to you to see how a clear path. Like I said, they can still be involved in sports. They just can't be on the field anymore, right? So all good, all good. Where can people find more information about you or connect with you? I really appreciate you being on my show.
It's no problem, man. Just the type in Spencer Group International, and I'll pop up. My website's the first thing that'll pop up. We just started a Substack uh, about a week ago. We moved some newsletters and some posts that we were doing on LinkedIn, moved that over to Substack. So I'm on Substack. All you got to do is, if you're on Twitter and Instagram, type in Spencer Group International. We'll pop up.
Got it. All good. Yeah, I'm looking at your site now. It looks fantastic. Um, Adam L. Spencer, everybody. Thank you so much for being on my show, man.
Appreciate it.
All right. Adam Spencer, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Dr. B here, Dr. B Uncensored. Hopefully, you enjoyed that episode. Remember, you are one big deal away. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel now. Take care.